welcome back to my holiday series and my official 2021 ribbon tutorial video. I have 4 brand new, super easy ribbon techniques to share with you today that I hope you will love and I hope you'll try out on your tree this year. I'm going to share those with you in just a bit, but I wanted to say really quickly that this is a very exciting week for my channel because this week we are talking all things Christmas trees, and it's probably my favorite week out of the year because I love sharing these videos with you. I've got a decorating video that has over 10 plus tips on how to decorate your Christmas tree. It's linked in the description box below, so be sure to check that out before you decorate your tree this year. But if you would like to see these 4 brand new ribbon techniques that I have to share with you, let's get into it. The first technique that I want to share with you today is what I am calling the vertical cascading spiral technique. I used this on my main 12-foot tree in my living room this year. The ribbon I used for this technique is a wired ribbon that's double-sided velvet. It's 2.5 inches wide, 25 feet per roll, and I used approximately 3 rolls for my tree. My tree is a 12-foot tall, full-sized artificial Christmas tree. All of the ribbon you'll see in today's video I'm using is wired ribbon, and this one is a double-sided velvet, which is great for this technique because you really see both sides of the ribbon. To start this technique, I am grabbing the end of the ribbon and placing it in my palm, kind of holding it as you can see with my thumb, and then I'm taking my other hand and wrapping that ribbon lightly around my hand about 4 to 10 times to start, creating a loose curl in my ribbon. I'm going to carefully pull the end of the ribbon from the center of the spiral I just created, loosening each curl just a bit. I'm going to tuck that into the top of the tree and secure it with a branch near the center of the tree. As I work my way down the tree vertically with my ribbon, I am just securing it in between branches ever so lightly. I'm being very gentle with this as to keep the shape of my curls and just making sure that it is secure in there. It's not tucked in or wired in like we have the top. You know, we secured the top with the branch. We're just tucking these curls in lightly, almost as if they're going to hang off of our tree. When using this technique, you definitely want to go with a wired ribbon. The wire will help hold these curls that you're creating naturally in place. Once you've reached the end of your tree, you will want to clip your ribbon, and then you will repeat this technique again until you've gone all the way around your tree. And here is the finished look. Technique 2 is what I call the 3 ribbon technique. This technique is a really great way to add that additional design element to your tree. It's also a really great technique to use. If you can't find the width of ribbon that you're looking for, you can add smaller widths of ribbon together and get that wide look that maybe you're trying to achieve for your tree. And this technique will do just that. Now, there are many ways you could potentially apply the ribbon to your tree to achieve this look, but today I am going to show you probably the easiest and simplest way to do so. The ribbon I used to create this look on my 12-foot slim tree are 2 rolls of velvet wired ribbon that both measure 2.5 inches in width. Each roll of ribbon is about 25 yards long, and I used 1 roll of the green and 1 roll of the red. The plaid ribbon that you see in the middle here is 1.5 inches in width, and it was a 25-yard roll of ribbon. I also just used 1 of those for this entire tree. The first thing you're going to want to do is measure out your ribbon and cut the lengths that you are going to want to use for each loop. And you're going to do this with each piece of ribbon. The size of these loops will probably vary depending on the size of your tree. I'm going to give you an example here today. The tree that I'm using to show you this tutorial is a smaller tree, so I'm cutting my ribbon into about 14 to 15 inch pieces, but for the larger tree that you see in the background, cut each strip of ribbon into about 28 to 31 inch pieces. So the larger the tree, the longer you're going to want your ribbon strips. The smaller the tree, the shorter, or of course, depending on the size loops you want, this can vary. So just make sure that you are using your measuring tape and cutting the desired length that you think looks best for your tree. After I've cut several strands of my ribbon, I take the 3 different types of ribbon and layer them on top of one another. Then I begin placing the ribbon on the tree by securing the ends of all 3 ribbon together at the top of my tree as you see here. Then create a loop with my ribbon moving down the tree in a diagonal direction. I take the other end of those 3 strips of ribbon and secure them near the center of the tree. Once my ribbon is secured, I then lightly pull the 3 ribbons apart as you see here. I then take another 3 strands of my ribbon and repeat that process, moving down and around the tree in this diagonal direction, creating this look as if the ribbon is spiraling around and down the tree. As I move down the tree with my ribbon, I am staying mindful of the space between each row of ribbon loops on my tree. So if it is helpful to you, in order to keep those somewhat even and symmetrical, you can always take your measuring tape and measure between that negative space, or that empty space if you will, between each row of loops. Keeping those rows evenly spaced out throughout the tree will give your ribbon a nice proportional look on the tree. And here is the finished look. This next technique that I'm going to show you is what I like to call the faux bow technique. If you watched last year's ribbon tutorial video, then you saw this great technique that I shared to make these big, beautiful bows for your tree. This year, I'm going to show you how to achieve an almost identical look that I think is much easier. The ribbon that I used to complete this look on my 7.5 foot tree this year is a velvet wired ribbon that is 2.5 inches wide. I used 3 full rolls of this ribbon on this tree this year. With this technique, we are going to be cutting small pieces of ribbon and grouping them together on the tree to create these really adorable faux bows that you see here. Let me show you how. You're going to start this technique by measuring and cutting each piece of your ribbon. I cut mine between 10 to 15 inch strands for this example tree, and for the tree that I'm showing you here with this beautiful pink ribbon, I cut each strand from about 15 to 25 inches long, just depending. Keep in mind that it is going to vary tree to tree depending on your tree size, your tree depth, all of that good stuff. But remember, the longer the strand, the larger the loop. Once you have your strands cut, you're going to take a piece of your ribbon and lightly fold it over, evenly bringing the ends together, creating a loop. Next, you'll want to take that loop and tuck it into your tree. Then you will grab another strand of ribbon and repeat the process right next to that strand that you just added. Once I have my first faux bow placed on the tree, usually towards the top because I always like to work from the top of the tree down, I want to make sure that I have an even placement of each bow around the tree. I like to make the bows different sizes throughout the tree, so I will group maybe 5 loops together here, 6 loops together there. Just play around with it and do what you think looks best on your tree. And this is how the faux bow technique turned out on my tree this year. This last technique I want to share with you today is what I call the extra large loop. The mesh ribbon that I used here on my tree this year is a wired 5-inch wide ribbon. For this ribbon, there are 25 yards per roll. I used 1 roll for my 7.5 foot tree. Mesh ribbon is a really great ribbon to use for this technique and this look because it covers a larger area of your tree, and that way you still get that light and that depth showing through your ribbon and into the tree without just covering up that beautiful tree with ribbon. So the ribbon is there to accent your tree, not cover it up. To create this look, I am leaving the ribbon on the roll, and I am just starting at the top of my tree by tucking the end of the ribbon into the back of the tree. Now I am bringing the ribbon out at a slight diagonal parallel to the tree, creating a large loop. Again, the size of your loop will probably vary based on the size of your tree. And then I am just tucking the ribbon back into the tree and securing it as close to the center as possible. As I move down the tree, I always place the ribbon at a diagonal, creating this wrapping effect from the top to the bottom. Before I start the next row, I am going to take a step back and make sure that I'm equally spacing my rows down the tree. You can always use a measuring tape to measure the vertical space, or the empty space as I've called it before, between each row of your ribbon and before you place the next one. And this will help you get a more symmetrical look. Here is what the technique looks like on the smaller tree. And here is the finished technique on the tree in my bedroom. That is it for my ribbon tutorial video today. I hope you found these techniques helpful. If you did, leave this video a thumbs up or leave me a comment below and let me know which technique you're going to try this year. If you decide to share your tree on social media, especially on Instagram, be sure to tag me so that I can see your beautiful tree. I would love to see what you create on your tree and in your home this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, I am so grateful for you, and I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed holiday season ahead. I'll see you soon. Bye.